Why do some training sessions leave you inspired, while others just feel like a waste of time? How can you design a learning program that really sticks with the audience? And are there proven methods to make adult learning more effective and engaging? Hello, and welcome to the L&D Academy's channel, where we talk about all things learning and development. My name is Irina, and today we are continuing our dive into one of the most fundamental pieces of the L&D puzzle, the art and science of adult learning theories, part 2. Number 8, Cognitivism. Unlike behaviorism, which focuses solely on observable behaviors, Cognitivism focuses on the mental processes involved in learning, like memory, problem-solving, and thinking. Jean Piaget's work was a massive contribution to developmental psychology and the theory of cognitive behavior. Here, the learner is an active participant in their own learning process. Imagine your brain as a computer, storing and processing information. Cognitivism is all about how we understand, diagnose, and solve problems. It's like playing a strategic board game, but inside your head. How would you use this in practice? Leveraging cognitivism would mean creating learning experiences that cater to the internal cognitive processes of learners. For example, you can begin sessions by connecting new information to what learners already know. You can do this by asking questions or providing prompts that tap into their existing knowledge. You can also integrate scenarios or case studies that require learners to apply critical thinking and reasoning to arrive at a solution. You should also provide learners with frameworks or models to organize and categorize information, aiding in better retention and retrieval. After presenting learners, time to reflect on what they've learned and how it connects to their existing knowledge. You can also foster discussions where learners can share their insights, ask questions, and debate points of view. This not only encourages active learning, but also helps in deepening their understanding. Finally, encourage learners to think about their own thinking. This could involve self-assessments or journaling about their learning processes, strategies they found effective, and areas of challenge. Number 9, Constructivism. The author Lev Vygotsky suggested that learners construct their own understanding and knowledge through close to real-life experiences and active engagement with the material, followed by reflection on those experiences. You're like a master chef in your own cognitive kitchen, so to speak. You mix ingredients, that is, your experiences and techniques, in other words, your thinking skills, to cook up your own understanding. Think of it as learning through a series of eureka moments. How would you use this in practice? For instance, imagine teaching a group of employees how to use a new software. Instead of just lecturing them, you start by letting them explore the software on their own, giving them basic tasks to perform. As they experiment, they'll encounter challenges, and this is where guided support comes in. Pair novices with more experienced peers or provide mentors to help guide them through difficult tasks. The mentor provides hints, scaffolding, and encouragement, gradually stepping back as the learner becomes more competent. Over time, the novice becomes the expert and can then mentor others. This creates a cycle of continuous learning and support, allowing for deeper understanding and mastery of skills. Number 10, Social Learning Theory. In the 1970s, Albert Bandura coined the term social learning. And it means just what it sounds like, learning by observing, modeling, and imitating the behaviors and emotional reactions of others. It's like learning the guitar by jamming with friends. You pick up new chords by watching and mimicking others. It's kind of like the YouTube tutorial approach to learning. See it, then do it. How would you use this in practice? A company might facilitate social learning by creating mentorship programs where new employees are paired with seasoned veterans. For example, in a sales role, a novice could shadow a top-performing salesperson during client meetings. By observing the experienced salesperson's techniques, body language, and communication style, the newcomer learns effective selling strategies firsthand. Over time, through this observational approach, the new employee starts to adopt and internalize the successful behaviors and strategies demonstrated by their mentor. Number 11, Humanism. Carl Rogers emphasizes that the ultimate goal of learning is the importance of personal growth and self-actualization. Humanism is a learning theory that emphasizes personal freedom, choice, self-determination, and striving for personal growth. It centers on the belief that each person has an innate drive to achieve their full potential or self-actualize. Here, we need to focus not just on the cognitive skills of the learner, but also their emotional or affective needs. One of the cornerstone principles of humanism is that learners take responsibility for their own learning and are driven by internal rewards, such as personal satisfaction and growth, rather than external rewards or punishments. And envision this as the yoga of learning theories. It's not just about flexing your mental muscles, but also achieving a holistic sense of well-being. This one's the personal trainer of learning theories, focusing on your holistic development, mind, body, and spirit. How would you use this in practice? You might organize a self-paced learning module where employees choose topics aligned with their career goals. Instead of a standardized test at the end, they could reflect on their learnings in a journal or a group discussion, sharing how the new knowledge aligns with their personal and professional aspirations. Number 12, Connectivism. In one of the newer learning theories created around 2005, George Siemens claims that the majority of the previous theories were developed before technology became such a predominant force in our lives, which technically it's true. However, in the age of information overload, to remain uneducated is kind of a personal choice. Connectivism posits that learning resides in a variety of digital sources. Therefore, our ability to learn and update our skills is more important than what we currently know. Consider this the social media feed for your brain. Information isn't just stored in your head, it's also in the links, shares, and connections that you make online. Your network is your net worth. How would you use this in practice? Well, for a company training program, you might create a collaborative online platform where employees can share, discuss, and annotate resources, articles, and tutorials relevant to their roles. Instead of a traditional classroom session, learners could be tasked with following industry influencers, joining specialized webinars, or practicing in online forums. Over time, they curate their personal learning network, continuously updating and refreshing their knowledge through dynamic digital interactions. Number 13, Gagné's condition of learning and taxonomy. Robert Mills Gagné's groundbreaking work on the conditions of learning outlines specific factors that optimize the learning process. He believed that different levels of learning require different types of instruction, laying the groundwork for educators to design more effective and tailored teaching strategies. Let's delve deeper into Gagné's 5 conditions for learning. The first one are intellectual skills. This is when the learner knows how to solve a problem using the taught knowledge. The next condition is verbal information. This means that the learner can state, recite, tell, and declare the taught new knowledge. The third condition is cognitive strategies. This means that the learner develops thinking techniques and strategies to analyze the problem or other similar situations. Next is the motor skills, which means that the learner can physically perform the taught actions to solve a problem. Finally, the last condition for learning is attitudes. Here, the learner has the mental state required to influence their choice of personal actions. If you want to take full advantage of Gagné's work, you can implement 9 levels of learning. This means you need to gain the learner's attention, inform students of the objective, stimulate recall of prior learning, present the content, provide learning guidance, elicit performance or practice, provide feedback, assess performance, enhance retention, and transfer to the job. Imagine this as a recipe for effective learning. Just as a cake needs flour, sugar, and eggs in a specific order, Gagné tells us that there are 9 instructional events that work best when followed in sequence. How would you use this in practice? Well, let's say that you're training employees on a new software system. You can start with a compelling scenario showcasing a common challenge they face without the software. Clearly state that by the end of the session, they'll be proficient in using the new software to solve that challenge. Ask them about their experiences with previous softwares and how it compares to the current challenge. Introduce the new software, its features and benefits. Offer step-by-step guides, cheat sheets, or video tutorials as references. Allow them to use the software, perhaps stimulating the scenario from the start. As they practice, offer real-time corrections and praise. Once they've had ample practice time, evaluate their ability to use the software effectively. Finally, discuss real-life applications and scenarios they might encounter and encourage them to apply what they've learned immediately. Number 14, ARC's model of motivation. John Keller's ARC's model, developed in the 1980s, stands for attention, relevance, confidence, and satisfaction. It's a motivational framework designed to stimulate and sustain learners' motivation through the instructional process. In essence, the model tells us your instructions need to first and foremost grab and hold on to the learner's attention. Here we need to capture and sustain their focus and keep them intrigued. Then we bring in relevance. This means making the learning meaningful by connecting it to the learner's own experiences and goals. We tie what's being taught to the learner's personal experiences and aspirations, make it resonate, and make it matter to them. Then we elevate their confidence. This is all about ensuring learners believe they can succeed and understand the learning objectives. This is key. We want our learners to think, "Hey, I've got this." It's about building their self-belief and helping them grasp their goals. Finally, we increase their satisfaction. It's all about the feel-good factor. We need to ensure people find the learning process rewarding and fulfilling. We want them to walk away thinking, "That was worth it." Picture the ARCS model as the rousing pep talk before a big game for the heart-pounding score in a movie's climactic scene. It's all about stimulating that internal drive to learn and push forward. How would you use this in practice? Let's say that you're conducting a workshop on a digital marketing for small business owners. To grab their attention, you might start with a surprising statistic about how a particular digital strategy can triple their sales. For relevance, you'd share success stories of similar businesses and how the digital strategies you're about to share help them soar. To boost their confidence, break down complex concepts into manageable steps and celebrate small wins throughout the workshop. And for satisfaction, well, maybe provide them with a toolkit at the end, filled with resources and templates they can immediately implement, showing them the tangible benefits of attending. So by the end, they're not just learning, they're eager to put that knowledge into action. Tips for implementing learning theories in practice. Just because you have all these learning theories at your disposal doesn't mean you should use all of them. So consider this your culinary guide to implementing learning theories in practice. It's like cooking up a 5-star meal. You've got to pick the right ingredients and know how to mix them to achieve culinary greatness. Picking the right ingredients for your audience and subject. First off, choosing a learning theory is like picking the main ingredients for your dish. You've got to consider who's coming to dinner and what's on the menu. Training veteran managers? Gagné might be your go-to protein. Teaching new hires basic skills? A hearty serving of behaviorism might just do the trick. Remember, knowing your audience is like knowing whether to opt for salmon or steak. How to master the art of culinary fusion with theories. Who says you have to stick with just one cuisine? I mean, theory. You can create a fusion dish that's the talk of the town. First, pick your base flavor. Decide on one main theory that lays the groundwork for your course. Think of it as your base broth. Then, add seasonings. Introduce a new element from another theory to spice things up. Perhaps a dash of Cognitivism or a sprinkle of Constructivism. Make sure the flavors harmonize. Next, taste before serving. Before you unveil your gourmet course to the world, do a little taste test, better known as a pilot study. Does it delight the palate, or does it need a touch more seasoning? Finally, plate and serve. Once you've got the mix just right, it's time to serve it up. Watch as your learners dig in, savoring each bite of knowledge like it's Michelin-starred meal. Am I the only one who's hungry right now? Oh well. Bon appetit, chefs of the learning kitchen. And there we have it, folks. From A to Z, or should I say from Gagné to Gagné of learning theories. So what's the TLDR here? Learning theories aren't just a fancy jargon to impress your colleagues at the next L&D conference. They're your GPS for navigating the sometimes confusing world of training and development, guiding you to more effective and engaging experiences. For all you L&D newbies out there, don't just stop at this video. Dig deeper, experiment. Make these theories your own, your new best friends. You won't regret it. Heck, you'll probably thank yourself the next time you're designing a killer training program. Got any juicy stories or burning questions about your own experiences with these theories? Spill the tea in the comments below. We're all ears and always up for a good learning chat. For now, if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing so we can reach more L&D professionals like yourself. And why not head to the comment section and let us know what emoji best describes your experience with learning theories. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side, where we'll continue to turn theory into practice and make the world a smarter place, one training session at a time.